You ever get roasted so casually by your own family that it feels less like a joke and more like a message? That was my Tuesday. It happened in the family group chat. You know the kind, full of grainy selfies, gifs that haven't been funny since 2012, and daily, inspirational quotes from Aunt Trish that sound like they were pulled straight from a Facebook page run by Kat. Most days I muted it and kept scrolling. But this time? Trish dropped a meme that stopped me cold. It was a cartoon image of a bearded guy with a wrench and a crooked ball cap, squinting at a furnace with smoke pouring out. Big red letters above it read, "Trade school equals failure with tools, face with tears of joy wrench." Below the meme? My name. Tagged. Twice. She even added a comment. Couldn't resist. Sorry, not sorry, winking face with tongue. My cousin Rachel responded with a skull emoji and STOPPP face with tears of joy, he's gonna be so mad. And my mom? She hit it with a laughing face react. That's when I left the group chat. Quietly. No dramatic exit, no final message, just tapped, leave conversation, and that was it. Because if that's how they saw me, as the family punchline, I didn't need to stick around and clap back. I wasn't going to defend a life they'd already decided wasn't worth applauding. Let me back up. Growing up, I was the hands-on kid. I took apart our microwave when I was 11 just to see if I could fix the turntable. I couldn't, but I tried. I once rewired our porch light when it started flickering, using a tutorial I found buried 3 pages deep on a sketchy DIY forum. My room looked like a mini hardware store half the time. Sockets, wires, busted remotes. I didn't have toys, I had tools. My parents didn't get it. They weren't cruel. Just dismissive. My dad, an accountant who believed spreadsheets were sacred texts, would always say, "You've got potential, but no direction." My mom, a biology teacher, called my projects cute distractions. Every time I brought home a handmade fix or tried to explain what I was learning, she'd smile like she was humoring a toddler showing off finger painting. Meanwhile, my cousin Rachel? She got a cake just for declaring pre-law. At family dinners, she'd go on and on about her internships, and they'd hang on every word like she was delivering the State of the Union. Me? I once mentioned I was studying HVAC systems, and someone asked if that was like duct cleaning? By high school, I'd stopped trying to impress anyone. I wasn't failing, but I wasn't getting medals either. No AP classes. No future business leader awards. Just me, in the back of the class, doodling wiring diagrams in my notebook and wondering if I'd ever get taken seriously. After graduation, I tried college. Lasted 2 semesters. It felt like trying to run in shoes 2 sizes too small. I sat through lectures about managerial accounting and freshman philosophy while daydreaming about air pressure sensors and condensers. It wasn't that I couldn't do it. I just didn't want it. So I dropped out. Enrolled in trade school. And when I told my family? The silence was deafening, until Aunt Trish said, "Well, as long as you're not fixing toilets for the rest of your life." Then came the jokes. The passive-aggressive, "just trying to help" advice. The long sighs from Mom. The thinly veiled disappointment from Dad. So I stopped talking about it. I worked, studied, and kept my head down. And now? Now I was months away from finishing my program, working part-time with a local HVAC tech who actually respected me, and finally feeling like I was building something that mattered. Which is why the meme stung more than it should have. It wasn't just a dumb joke. It was a reminder that no matter how hard I worked, how many units I passed or furnaces I fixed, to them, I was still the lesser path. The one they whispered about. The cautionary tale. So yeah? I left the group chat. And this time, I didn't look back. After I left the family chat, I expected at least one person to reach out. Maybe my dad. Maybe my younger cousin Jeremy, who once shadowed me for a middle school career day project and said, "Bro, your toolbox is sick." But nope. Nothing. Not even a, "You okay?" or, "Hey, Trish crossed the line." Just digital silence. At first, it bothered me more than I'd like to admit. I'd scroll through old threads, looking at the dozens of birthday wishes and, "Look who got engaged!" posts, and wonder how I could be so related to so many people, and still feel like a guest in the family. But over time, that silence turned into space. And space? That turned into peace. Because trade school wasn't just a detour. It was a clean slate. I enrolled in a local program that focused on HVAC, electrical systems, and practical fieldwork. The kind of stuff that actually made sense to me. I wasn't just sitting in a classroom, zoning out to slideshows and outdated textbooks. I was crawling through basements, diagnosing busted systems, learning how heat pumps worked under pressure and why some vents hissed like angry cats during winter. It wasn't glamorous. But it was real. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was where I was supposed to be. My mentor, Vince, was a 50-something former Navy mechanic with a bad back, a sharper tongue, and a soft spot for kids who listened more than they talked. He gave me hell when I messed up a thermostat install once, but the next day, handed me his backup multimeter like it was a medal of honor. "You've got hands that know what they're doing," he grunted. "Don't let anyone who's never held a wrench tell you different." I think that was the closest thing to encouragement I'd ever gotten from a grown man not wearing a tie. My days were long. Class in the morning, apprenticeship in the afternoon, side jobs on the weekends for neighbors who needed cheap repairs. My uniform was a rotation of cargo pants, steel-toed boots, and a jacket with 3 different kinds of sealant stains. Meanwhile, my family was still out there. I saw glimpses now and then. Posts of Rachel clinking champagne glasses at networking events. Aunt Trish posing beside a fireplace with a caption like, "Surround yourself with warmth, not drama." Probably aimed at me. Whatever. I was too busy tightening ducts and memorizing fuse box layouts to care. Still, there were moments. Little gut punches. Like when my mom sent a group photo from Rachel's law school brunch, a catered event with gold foil napkins and a literal harpist. She'd CC'd everyone in the family except me. I only saw it because Jeremy accidentally forwarded it to our old school alumni email list. Or when my dad's Facebook post went viral in our town's local group. Proud of Rachel for taking the academic route. Not everyone's brave enough for the hard path. I laughed. Out loud. Then got back to work tightening a leaky gas line in a crawl space so cold I could see my breath. That was my life, working in places no one wanted to be, solving problems no one else understood, building a future no one else respected, yet. And the wildest part? I was happy. Not in a fairy tale, Instagram-filtered way. But in a deep, satisfying, bone-level way. The kind of happiness that comes when you finish a job, take off your gloves, and know you fixed something that actually matters. I didn't need their approval. But yeah, I noticed the silence. Especially when it got cold. Especially when I knew winter was coming. And especially when I started getting calls from people I hadn't heard from in months, starting with a name that made my eyebrows shoot up like busted pistons. Unknown number. Voicemail received. I pressed play. And heard Aunt Trish's voice. Tight. Panicked. Breathless. "Hey, it's Trish. So our furnace just completely died and we've got a freeze warning coming. It's supposed to drop below 0 tonight. The kids are already bundled up and anyway, I heard you do heating stuff now? Please call me back. ASAP? Seriously. Please." I stared at the phone. Then at the thermostat repair manual in my hand. Then at my old photo album, the one where Trish once cropped me out of the Christmas photo and claimed it was just a formatting issue. It was only November. Winter hadn't even really started yet. And I was already getting frostbitten apologies. The cold came in fast. Like someone flipped a switch and suddenly every vent in the county was hissing in protest. Overnight, temperatures dropped 20 degrees, pipes froze, and the town's Facebook page turned into a collective panic attack. People who hadn't spoken to me in years were suddenly my biggest fans. "Hey bro, long time. Quick question, do you still fix furnaces? I have a friend whose elderly mother might be freezing. Totally not for me, but could you swing by? We'd love to support local business. Also, is there any chance you do free diagnostics?" I was working 16-hour days, barely sleeping, running off gas station burritos and caffeine so strong it could restart a dead heart. But weirdly, I was thriving. Business was booming. My van's heater didn't work, but I was too busy fixing everyone else's to notice. Vince had warned me. When winter hits, you'll be the most popular guy in town. He wasn't kidding. By the end of the week, I'd fixed 15 heat pumps, rewired 6 thermostats, and pulled a dead squirrel out of one unfortunate vent system, don't ask. My back hurt, my hands were cracked from cold metal, but my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. And then, it happened. The text came through while I was replacing a blower motor in a dusty basement that smelled like expired soup and regret. Aunt Trish. Hey, it's Trish. Need your help. Furnace just went out. Entire house is freezing. It's urgent. No greeting. No, how are you? Just straight to urgent. I stared at the screen, letting the irony settle in like frostbite. 2 weeks ago, she'd sent a meme implying I was a failure with tools. Now, I was the tool she needed to survive a freeze warning. The universe really does write the best punchlines. I didn't respond immediately. Not because I wanted to gloat, okay, maybe a little, but because I wanted to be intentional. I finished my current job, drove back to my apartment, took a hot shower, ate something that wasn't wrapped in foil. Then I sat down, opened my phone, and went hunting. It didn't take long. The meme was still there in my camera roll. The one Trish had posted. Cartoon guy. Dumb caption. My name tagged twice. I screenshotted it. Attached it to a reply. And typed. Still think I'm a failure? No other words. Hit send. And waited. For 5 minutes, nothing. Then a typing bubble appeared. Then disappeared. Then came back. Then disappeared again. I went to bed smiling. The next morning, my phone was a disaster zone. Missed calls. Texts from cousins. Even Mom had chimed in. Maybe you're overreacting. It was just a joke. Can't you let it go? Let it go. I wasn't holding on to anything. I just wasn't offering free heat to people who'd rather laugh at my trade than understand it. Trish tried again. More panic this time. I'm sorry if the meme was too far. I honestly didn't think you'd take it personally. She followed it up with, the kids are cold. Please. And look, I'm not a monster. I know what cold can do. But I also know what disrespect feels like. So I replied again. This time with my business card. Schedule an appointment. Standard rates. Emergency call fee applies. 10 seconds later, she called. I didn't pick up. Another text buzzed in. I'm your family. And I thought. Finally. Now I'm family? Not when I chose trade school. Not when I got certified. Not when I worked my way up without a dime from them. No. Now that her thermostat was dead and her house felt like a meat locker? Now I was family? Nah. Let her call someone else. Because this time, failure with tools, was fully booked. By the end of the week, I'd heard from nearly every branch of the family tree, uncles, cousins, in-laws, even friends of Trish. Apparently, when pipes froze and thermostats died, the failure with tools suddenly had value. One message read, heard you're busy but thought maybe you could squeeze us in? The baby's cold. No name. No greeting. Just guilt in emoji form. Another gem from cousin Derek. Yo bro, my furnace is making a weird clunking noise. Think it'll last the night? Attached was a blurry video of a heating unit that sounded like it was coughing up nails. I didn't respond. Because when you build something from nothing, when you crawl through insulation and busted vents to make a living, you don't owe favors to people who laughed at the foundation. And Aunt Trish? She wasn't done yet. After her first panic text, she followed up with a soft-pitch version. We'll pay whatever you charge. I know we got off on the wrong foot. Wrong foot? Lady, you posted a meme calling me a walking disappointment and tagged me twice like it was open mic night. I finished my current job, cleaned up, and then scrolled through my camera roll. There it was. The meme. Cartoon guy tool belt. Trade school equals failure with tools. The same one she thought was hilarious a month ago. I screenshotted it. Sent it back. And added one line. Still think I'm a failure? Her typing bubble popped up, then disappeared. Twice. Then came another message. The kids are cold. Please. And that's where the guilt tried to sneak in. But here's the thing. I'd spent years trying to be enough for a family that only looked up when it was convenient. I wasn't going to cave the moment they finally noticed I had skills they needed. I sent my business card. Standard rates apply. Emergency calls are double. She didn't reply. But my mom did. She called the next morning, no small talk. Josh, she snapped. You need to call your aunt. I paused. You mean the one who turned me into a joke before asking for help? She's your family. There it was. The classic guilt boomerang. Family. As if that word erased everything that came before. Funny, I said. She didn't remember that when she cropped me out of the family newsletter. Or when she said HVAC was manual labor for dropouts. Mom exhaled like I was being dramatic. It was just a meme. No, I said. It was just years of not being taken seriously, delivered in JPEG format. She hung up. No goodbye. Just cold air. I stood there for a second, then chuckled. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't angry. I wasn't craving approval. I was booked. I was respected, by my clients, by my crew, by the people who mattered. And most importantly, I wasn't begging to be seen anymore. 2 weeks after I blocked Aunt Trish, I got a call from a local realtor named Melanie. Hey, you the guy who fixed the Mackenzie furnace last month? Yeah, that was me. I've got a property needing an emergency inspection before it lists. Old place, 2-story, red shutters, out near Willow Creek? Sounded familiar. She rattled off the address. And I laughed. It was Trish's house. I didn't say anything at first. Just nodded to myself, the way you do when the universe drops a punchline in your lap. You still available? Melanie asked. Oh, absolutely. She met me at the property 2 days later. Said Trish had moved out temporarily after a series of unfortunate malfunctions. Melanie used the voice people use when they're trying to sell a haunted house without using the word haunted. I walked through the door and was instantly greeted by stale air and the faint smell of burned dust. The house was cold. The kind of cold that seeps into the bones. Like it remembered being disrespected and chose violence. I started the inspection, ductwork, vents, furnace unit. It was bad. Like textbook. Why you don't ignore preventative maintenance? Bad. Filters so clogged they looked like felt. Wiring that hadn't been touched in years. The whole system was practically begging for retirement. I took pictures, made notes, gave Melanie the full breakdown. She winced. Yikes. This is a lot. Yeah. Whoever lived here didn't believe in upkeep. She nodded slowly. Well, Trish did mention she had a nephew in HVAC. Said she wasn't sure he was legit. I couldn't help it. I grinned. Guess she was right. Melanie raised an eyebrow, but didn't ask. By the time I finished, it was dark outside. Snow had started falling again, and my boots left clear tracks as I stepped off the porch. I paused, looked back at the house, and imagined Trish shivering in some overpriced Airbnb wondering why her family had gone so quiet lately. Then my phone buzzed again. This time it was Rachel. The golden child. Hey, hope you're doing well. I heard you're working with realtors now. That's awesome. I might have a few people to connect you with. Let's catch up soon. I stared at it. No greeting for the past. No apology. No mention of the meme. Just a smooth pivot into networking, like we were all old pals who just lost touch for a bit. I didn't reply. But I did screenshot it. Added it to my private collection titled, Where Was This Energy Before? Later that week, I got a voicemail from Trish's husband, Uncle Pete, a guy who once told me HVAC work was a phase. Josh, buddy. Heard you came by the house. Look, things have been crazy. Trish gets carried away sometimes, you know how it is. He trailed off. Then came the real ask. Anyway, if there's any chance you could do us a solid, just help us get it patched up for now. Nothing fancy. We're a little tight right now. Of course they were. Because now, the house wouldn't sell until the heating worked. And the only person who could do it, the one they turned into a meme, was the guy holding the clipboard. I didn't call back. I drafted an invoice instead. Full service. Full cost. No. Solid. And I sent it. Not with pettiness. With professionalism. Because I didn't need revenge. I had receipts. A week after sending the invoice, I got an email. Not a reply. Not even from Trish. It was from Melanie, the realtor. Hey Josh, just wanted to let you know they've decided to hold off on selling until spring. Heating repairs are on pause for now. Thanks again. Translation: Trish saw the number, gasped, and decided to freeze instead. Cool. Literally. I was halfway through another job when it happened. A client tagged me in a Facebook community post. Shout out to Fix Right HVAC. Josh showed up on time, didn't overcharge, and actually explained what the heck was wrong. Highly recommend. It got dozens of likes, then shares. Then someone else added a comment. Wait, I think this guy's related to Trish Hammond? Didn't she say he wasn't a real professional? Cue the popcorn. Suddenly, my inbox turned into a digital confessional. Old friends. Distant cousins. People I hadn't spoken to since high school. Didn't know you were doing so well, man. Trish looks real dumb now, lol. So proud of you. Always knew you'd make something of yourself. That last one was from a cousin who once told me, to my face, you peaked in shop class. Funny how fast people pivot when your name starts trending, even if it's just in the PDA Facebook circles. Even mom texted. Your business is getting some attention. That's good. Maybe now you can let go of the whole meme thing? Let go? They threw that meme like a dart at my spine, and now that it boomeranged back, I was just supposed to shrug it off? I didn't respond. Instead, I posted something of my own. A photo of me in front of my work van, holding a new certificate I just earned, EPA certified technician. Caption? Not bad for a failure with tools. Proud of the work, proud of the journey. Stay warm, folks. It wasn't petty. Okay, it was a little petty. But it was also honest. The comments rolled in. Clients, neighbors, classmates from trade school. All people who had actually seen the work, not just judged the path. Trish didn't comment. But I saw her name pop up in the views section. 3 times. Later that day, my apprentice Caleb, 19, fresh out of school, nervous as hell, asked me, Hey, was that your aunt on that Zillow ad talking about frozen pipes? I blinked. What? He pulled up a local news clip on his phone. There she was, Aunt Trish, wrapped in a scarf indoors, saying something like, It's just shocking, honestly. We thought the system would last another year. No mention of calling me. No mention of ignoring the problems. Just good old public blame deflection. I turned to Caleb and shrugged. You'll learn, kid. Some people only respect your work when it makes the evening news. He laughed. So, like, are we doing her house or not? Nah, I said. But we might fix her neighbors again. He tips better. We loaded the van. The day ended like any other. Tired muscles, sore hands, another household with working heat, and one more layer of confidence I didn't know I'd earned. And the best part? Every room I stepped into was warmer than the family I left behind. By February, I'd done over 60 service calls in 2 months. My boots were worn in, my voicemail was always full, and my van now had a permanent coffee stain in the cup holder from every 5 a.m. rush. They say you know you've made it when you can finally afford to slow down. I hadn't slowed down. But something had shifted. I wasn't just fixing heat anymore. I was getting recognized. People started waving when they saw my van. Strangers stopped me at gas stations. I even got a shout-out in the town newsletter under Local Business Heroes. And then, the unexpected happened. I got nominated for a Neighborhood Business Award. Apparently, 2 clients had submitted my name. I didn't even know there was a nomination process. The letter came in a thick envelope with foil lettering and a badly photoshopped trophy on the front. I stared at it for a long time. I wasn't used to being celebrated. Not by people who weren't holding a wine glass or trying to one-up each other's kids at Thanksgiving. I posted a photo to my business page. Nothing flashy. Grateful to serve this town. Thanks for the nomination. And just like that, the likes rolled in. Clients, neighbors, other techs, even a couple of folks from trade school. But the one that stood out? Rachel. She liked it. Didn't comment. Didn't message. Just a quiet like. Trish messaged though. Her first in months. Saw your post. Congrats. I know we've had our differences, but you've really built something. Maybe one day we can sit down and talk. Would love to clear the air. No mention of the meme. No apology. Just a soft tap on the door she helped shut years ago. I didn't reply. Not out of anger. Just choice. Some bridges don't burn. They freeze. And I'd learned how to build my own roads across the ice. Instead, I kept working. Expanding. I brought Caleb, my new apprentice, to his first solo repair. He was 19, nervous, and reminded me of myself. The kid had potential, but he still said sorry every time he dropped a wrench. We fixed an old townhouse heater together. The owner tipped us in banana bread and a mug with "Thanks a ton" written in Comic Sans. Caleb beamed the whole ride back. You always know what to say, he said. With clients, I mean. I shrugged. Only because I'd been ignored by the best of them. He looked confused. I laughed. Don't worry. You'll figure out how to be loud without shouting. Just keep showing up. That afternoon, I took him to the storefront I'd just signed the lease for. It wasn't huge, just a clean spot on the corner of Maple and First with room for a front desk, 2 workstations, and a back room for gear. But to me, it looked like a future. I unlocked the door and let him step inside first. This is ours? Ours? I nodded. We're not just fixing things. We're building something that outlasts the winter. He turned slowly, looking at the walls, already dreaming. You think we can put up a neon sign? Let's not get carried away. He grinned. Then deadpan. Do we send your aunt a flyer? I smiled. Nah, I said. We'll let the cold do the talking. Spring came early that year. Not in a poetic, birds are singing way. Just less snow, fewer pipes bursting, and slightly fewer panicked calls at 2 a.m., asking why someone's furnace was clicking like it's possessed. Business didn't slow down much, just shifted gears. Now it was inspections, cleanings, system upgrades. The emergencies faded, but the momentum stayed. I started getting commercial calls. Local hardware stores wanted partnerships. Real estate agents kept my card in their preferred vendors file. People were asking for me by name. That never used to happen. I used to be the kid in the background. The one at family dinners who got asked. So, what do you do again? Now my name carried weight, not because I demanded it, but because I earned it. One Saturday, Caleb and I were organizing the new office when he asked, Are you going to the family barbecue next weekend? I blinked. I wasn't invited. He raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Seriously. I hadn't expected an invite, but hearing it aloud hit harder than I thought. I guess part of me thought they might try, even a half-hearted group text. But nothing. Just silence. Then Caleb said, Want to throw our own? I laughed. What, like a grand opening cookout? Yeah, he said, shrugging. Why not? You've got a van, a storefront, a mug that says thanks a ton. Let's celebrate. So we did. We set up folding tables out front. Got a friend to bring a grill. Passed out flyers to past clients and neighbors. Made a cheesy sign that said, Fix Right HVAC, now with bonus hot dogs. Dozens of people showed up. Clients brought their kids. A realtor gave me a referral on the spot. Even Vince, my old mentor, stopped by and grunted. Not bad for a kid who used to trip over extension cords. And then, just as I was wiping mustard off my shirt, I saw her. Aunt Trish. Standing across the street. Watching. She wasn't dressed up. No sunglasses, no heels. Just jeans, a windbreaker, and an expression I couldn't read. She didn't walk over. Didn't wave. Just stood there for a moment, then turned and walked away. And you know what? I didn't feel anger. Or triumph. Or anything Instagram-worthy. I felt peace. Because I wasn't invisible anymore. I didn't need her to see me. The whole town already did. Later that evening, after we cleaned up, I sat in the new office alone for a while. The lights were dim. My boots were off. I leaned back in the creaky office chair and exhaled, deep, heavy, grateful. On my desk was that old meme. Printed out? Folded. Taped shut. I picked it up. Smiled. Then dropped it in the trash. Not because it didn't matter, but because it didn't anymore. Caleb walked in with a coffee and asked, "What's next, boss?" And I thought about that for a second. Maybe hire one more tech. Maybe expand the van fleet. Maybe take a damn day off. "Let's keep building," I said. "One furnace at a time." He grinned. And as I looked around, at the walls I painted, the business I built, the warmth I created for strangers, I realized something. The warmest room I ever walked into was the one I built myself.